Have you ever asked yourself how many days you truly have left to live? Not how many years, not how many dreams, but how many actual sunrises remain. How many more times will you hug your children? How many more meals with your mother? How many more chances to begin instead of delay? Most people aren't wasting money, they're wasting time. And that's far worse because money comes and goes, but time only goes. It never returns. Psalm 90 says it clearly. Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. God isn't asking you to live forever. He's asking you to live wisely. And that wisdom begins the moment you awaken to the value of your time. Here on this channel, Napoleon inspires. We don't speak just to speak. We awaken. We learn to think like the wise, to live with eternal purpose, and to act with a faith that leaves a mark. If you've arrived at this video, it's not by chance. God brought you here because He wants to speak to you. You still have time, but not much. Stay, because in the next few minutes we're going to dismantle the biggest lies about time. We're going to bring together biblical wisdom and mental power to shift your destiny. And if you listen to the end, you'll never see a single day the same again. Time is the only resource we're all given in equal portions, yet not everyone knows how to value it. From the moment you're born, a countdown begins, and it never stops. You can't pause it. You can't buy more. You can't bargain with God for one more second. And yet we treat it like it's infinite. We waste days as if we had extra. We postpone decisions as if we're immortal. We live on autopilot as if our hours don't matter. But they do. Everything matters. Because what you do with your time is what you're doing with your life. God isn't an indifferent clockmaker. He doesn't just measure time. He sanctifies it. In the Bible, every important act is marked by one word, time. To everything there is a season, a time to plant and a time to harvest. The time of grace, the appointed time. God operates on timing, not whims. And the most powerful truth, He expects you to do the same. Napoleon Hill understood it too. He said time is your most precious asset. If you don't respect it, you'll never master your destiny. He studied the most successful people of his era, from Edison to Henry Ford, and found one unshakable pattern. They treated time as sacred. They didn't live in a rush. They lived with direction. They didn't do 1,000 things. They did what truly mattered. This is where the Bible and Hill meet. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. Not about living more years, but living each year with more purpose. Have you ever stopped to consider that every second that passes will never return? That moment is gone forever. And whether you used it to grow, love, draw near to God, procrastinate, complain, or escape, it's gone. Time waits for no one. And that's not something to fear. It's a divine invitation to live consciously. Psalm 90 doesn't say, give us more time. It says, teach us to number our days, because you don't need more time. What you need is more vision for the time you already have. Many ask for more years. God gives you minutes and watches what you do with them. Because your faith is not proven by what you say. It's revealed in how you use your day. Today can be just another day, or it can be the beginning of your eternity on purpose. Because when you understand that every second is a gift, you stop living by habit and start living with sacred fire. We live in a time that worships hurry. The busier you are, the more valuable you seem. The more you run, the more you think you're making progress. But the question is, where are you running to? Not all movement is progress. Not all busyness is purpose. Some people don't stop for a single day and yet haven't moved 1 inch closer to their destiny. They work from sunrise, race from task to task, cross off endless to-dos. But when they stop, if they stop, they feel empty, drained, and lost. This is the great lie of modern life. Confusing productivity with purpose. Confusing busyness with alignment. And it's not new. For centuries, humanity has believed that the value of life lies in how much you do, when in truth, it lies in why you do it. Napoleon Hill said it clearly. Some people work so much they have no time to think, and that's why they fail. Working nonstop may seem admirable, but if you don't know where you're going, you're just digging your own exhaustion. There's no prison worse than a routine without purpose. And no greater waste than a life lived without spiritual direction. Look around. How many people do you know who are exhausted, stressed, irritable, and don't even know why? It's not lack of effort. It's lack of focus. And that focus doesn't come from the world or money or likes. It comes from God, when you choose to live for something greater than yourself. Psalm 90 hits us with brutal truth. Our life lasts 70 years, 80 if we're strong. But their pride is only labor and sorrow, for they quickly pass, and we fly away. Labor and sorrow. That's the formula destroying millions. They live to work, to prove themselves, to accumulate. And in the end, they don't really live. Life wasn't meant to be a marathon with no finish line. It was designed to be a mission with direction. If you don't have time to think, to pray, to feel, if you don't have time for what really matters, then you're not investing time, you're wasting it. There are people who have spent the last 5 years running, yet they're still in the same emotional place, the same spiritual emptiness, the same internal frustration. You weren't created for that. You were created to move forward with faith, not to run with fear. Let me be clear. The worst kind of failure is to succeed at something that doesn't matter. And that's the story of many. They succeeded professionally, but failed as a parent. They gained fame, but lost peace. They accumulated titles, but left no legacy. This message isn't to shame you. It's to wake you up. Because you still have time. Yes, you still have time, but only if you stop running without purpose and start walking with God. Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. It doesn't say do more things. It doesn't say fill your schedule. It doesn't say work harder. It says count your days, because the one who doesn't count their days ends up wasting their life without even realizing it. Most people live as if the next year is guaranteed. But the truth is, no one is promised even the next sunrise. And that's not meant to make you live in fear. It's meant to awaken you. Every day is a gift, but not everyone knows how to open it. Not everyone knows how to use it with eternal purpose. Wisdom doesn't come from getting older. It comes from living with the right urgency. That's why the psalmist didn't ask for extra years. He asked for a spiritual skill, to count the days through God's eyes, to distinguish what's eternal from what's just urgent, to separate what truly matters from what only drains your soul. Napoleon Hill understood this too. He said most people fail not because they lack talent, but because they waste entire years without a clear goal. What isn't measured can't be improved. What isn't planned gets wasted. And that truth applies to time more than anything. Because if you don't count your days, you'll lose weeks, months, then an entire life without meaning. Think about it. How many days this year did you live on autopilot? How many mornings did you open your eyes without a clear reason? How many days did you just survive when you were created to transcend? Every day, without direction, is a blank page that will never be written again. And when you reach the end of the book of your life, what story will you have left behind? This verse isn't poetic fluff. It's a warning, a calling, a spiritual key, one that only works if you use it. God doesn't want you to accumulate days. He wants you to live them well, not to count your years, but to make every year count in heaven. So, how do you truly number your days? When each sunrise becomes an opportunity, not a routine. When every conversation carries love, not just words. When every task, no matter how small, connects with your eternal purpose. That's when your heart gains wisdom. That's when you live with your soul wide open. That's when your time stops being just chronological and becomes sacred. And here's a reflection that changes lives. It's not about how many days you've lived. It's about how many of those days were worth living. That's why this channel isn't here to entertain you. It's here to remind you that each day carries eternal weight. It's here to help you think clearly, feel with faith, and live with direction. Because if you don't count your days wisely, the world will spend them for you. And by the time you notice, you may not have the margin to change your course. But today you still have time. And if you're here, it's because God wants to teach you to use your time the way He designed it. With purpose, with wisdom, with power. One of humanity's greatest mistakes is believing we have time. Not today. I'll start tomorrow. Later, when I'm ready. When everything's perfect, I'll try. But while you repeat those lines, life is slipping away. The most dangerous lie isn't that you can't. It's that you have plenty of time to do it later. That idea has killed more dreams than fear. It has crushed more purpose than failure. Because later is the enemy's favorite territory. That's where purpose fades, faith dissolves, and your soul falls asleep. The world won't tell you to stop. It'll just say, do it later. And that later becomes never. Napoleon Hill warned about it clearly. Procrastination is the silent killer of opportunity. Ideas don't wait. They're given to those who are ready to act. And God confirms it in His Word. Life is like a mist. It appears for a moment, then vanishes. Yet we live as if the clock were frozen, as if we had thousands of hours stored in our back pocket, as if death could never knock on our door. Is it harsh? Yes, but it's also real. Look around. How many people do you know who left without saying goodbye? Who had plans for tomorrow and never got to live them? How many dreams are still trapped in notebooks, on voice notes, on documents waiting for the perfect moment? The truth is, there is no perfect moment. The moment is now. It's always now. And if you don't honor the now, you lose the future. Let this sink in. Faith acts. Fear delays. The awakened soul obeys without waiting for perfect signs. There is no such thing as infinite time. There's only assigned time. And you don't know how much of it you have left. But you do know what you can do today. And that makes you responsible. And do you know why so many people don't do what they know they're meant to do? Because they've grown comfortable postponing their greatness. Because they haven't realized that every day of delay is one less day to be who they were called to be. Every minute you don't use for your purpose, you're giving away to nothingness. And the truth is, nothingness doesn't build, it consumes. And here's the saddest part. Many will realize this, but it will be too late. When you're on your deathbed, you won't regret what you did wrong. You'll regret what you never dared to begin. What God whispered into your heart and you ignored. The dreams that were seeds from heaven, but you buried in the soil of fear. That's why this message isn't here to entertain. It's here to shake you. To wake you up before your time runs out. Because time isn't infinite. But you were created to leave behind something that is. And that legacy begins today with a single decision. To live with sacred urgency. To live like each day is an unrepeatable opportunity, because it is. Napoleon Hill wasn't a preacher, but he spoke more clearly about time than many men of faith. He understood that time isn't just a resource, it's a spiritual force. And he said it plainly. People who fail to make decisions quickly often miss every opportunity life gives them. Do you see? It's not just about acting, it's about acting in time. Because what you don't do when you're meant to usually never gets done. Hill taught that there is a powerful energy in the present moment. An energy that only gets unlocked when you decide. When you stop overthinking and start executing. When you choose to move forward, even if you don't have all the answers yet. And the most striking part? That teaching isn't separate from the Bible. It's deeply aligned with it. Psalm 90 says, "Teach us to number our days." Napoleon Hill said, "Organize your time as if your life depended on it, because it does." Both understood something that most people try to avoid. A destiny is not determined by how much time you have, but by what you do with it. Think about it. Every wasted minute, every delayed decision, every action you avoid due to fear or laziness, it doesn't just disappear. It becomes the absence of results. And that absence will send you the bill later. That's why Napoleon Hill talked so much about definite purpose. Because when you have a clear purpose, your time becomes destiny. You're not just busy, you're focused. You're not doing more, you're doing what matters. You're not running, you're advancing with intention. But when you don't know what you're living for, all the time in the world gets wasted on things that don't build you. Meaningless relationships, endless distractions, projects that were never born from your spirit, addictions that numb your soul. And whether you realize it or not, that too is a form of slow suicide. Listen closely. Your time is your life. And your life is the evidence of your consciousness. If your time is chaotic, your soul is too. If your day has no structure, your decisions become diluted. If your weeks pass without clear goals, your future slowly collapses. Sacred urgency is not anxiety. It's awaken awareness. It's knowing that what you don't do today may not be possible tomorrow. It's understanding that every hour lived disconnected from your purpose is an hour you will never get back. And this is not about living in a rush. It's about living awake. Napoleon Hill taught something powerful that connects deeply with the heart of the biblical message. The subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what's urgent and what's optional. It simply follows what you give priority to. So, what are you programming into your subconscious every day? Spiritual urgency or emotional comfort? Your subconscious is like fertile soil, and time is the seed. You choose what to plant. That's why this channel doesn't exist just to inspire you. It exists to activate you, to help you understand that your time isn't random, it's a calling. God didn't give you 24 hours by accident. He gave them to you to shape your eternal legacy. And that legacy begins the moment you say, I will no longer waste time. From now on, my clock will align with my purpose. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine. Today is your last day. Not tomorrow, today. The clock is counting down the final 12 hours of your life. Where would you be? Who would you be with? What would you value most? And what would you let go of without a second thought? If you knew your time was ending, would you still be worried about what worries you now? Would you still be arguing over meaningless things? Would you still delay your dreams? Would you still avoid calling the person you love? Do you see it now? Time is not just a line stretching into the future. It's a silent countdown that began the day you were born. And the most painful part? You don't know what number it's on. Napoleon Hill said, the greatest failure is not that you didn't arrive. It's that you lived as if you always had time. And God confirms it in His Word. Man is like a flower in the field, blooming in the morning and withering by evening. That's our reality. Beautiful potential, but limited time. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how healthy you feel. The truth remains the same. You don't know when your last day will be. And that shouldn't paralyze you. It should wake you up. If this were your last week, what would you change? Maybe you'd let go of your pride. Maybe you'd speak more honestly with God. Maybe you'd stop hoarding and start giving. And here comes the hardest part. Many people have already died. Even though they're still breathing, they've died inside. They've died spiritually. They've died in their purpose. And all because they believed they still had time. The countdown doesn't send warnings. The end doesn't always come with an alarm. Sometimes it shows up while you're busy, while you're saying just a little longer, while you're ignoring the call of your soul. That's why Psalm 90 cries out, teach us to number our days, because if you don't do it, life will do it for you. And believe me, when that moment comes, you'll ask yourself, did I live what I was meant to live? Did I love the way I was meant to love? Did I sow what I came to sow? This isn't about fear, it's about truth. And the truth has power. Power to save you from a hollow life, from a soulless routine, from a race with no finish line. Because God doesn't want you to arrive in heaven saying, I had success but no purpose. I made money but lost my essence. I lived but never woke up. God wants you to arrive saying, I counted my days and I lived each one as a sacred gift. So if you're hearing this today, it's not a coincidence. It's an urgent message from heaven. Your time is running out, but it's not over yet. And what you do with what's left can change everything. So ask yourself this question right now, with your heart in your hands. What would I do today if I knew I only had 30 days left? That question, answered honestly, can rewrite your story. Because the countdown has already begun, but you still have the power to change the ending. After everything you've heard, here comes the most important part. Now what will you do with this truth? Because knowing that time is running out is not enough. Feeling that you've delayed too much doesn't change everything. What truly transforms your story is a conscious decision to redesign your life starting today. And I'm not talking about making a to-do list or filling your schedule with tasks. I'm talking about something much deeper, an internal reconfiguration, a new order from your soul outward into your actions. Where do you begin? First, with a sacred question. Am I living for what I was created for, or just surviving for what landed on me? If the answer hurts, that's okay, because the pain of truth is the beginning of healing. Only those brave enough to face what's broken can rebuild on solid ground. Second, make time your altar. Every day you are given isn't just a page on the calendar. It's a divine appointment with your purpose. And if you don't honor it, life won't stop, but your destiny will. Napoleon Hill said it clearly. The habit of postponing the essential is the seed of silent failure. And the psalm confirms it. Teach us to number our days. Every minute used well is a brick in the house you're building in heaven. Third, shift your focus from the urgent to the eternal. Stop chasing what screams and start walking toward what lasts. Some things seem important but only drain your soul. And others, things the world may overlook, quietly fill your spirit with lasting purpose. Fourth, wake up with intention. Don't open your eyes out of habit. Do it like a spiritual warrior who knows they've been given one more day to fulfill one more mission. Each morning, repeat in your mind, "Today I will not live in vain." That declaration changes decisions, and decisions shape destiny. Fifth, delete "when I have time" from your vocabulary. Because you already do. Time is not something to find. It's something to honor. You have the power to use it well or waste it completely. And if you don't know where to start with what you already know God has asked of you. Not what the world expects, not what others applaud, but what your soul knows is your path. Do you want to write? Then write. Do you want to speak to your Father? Then do it. Do you want to pray for real? Then pray today. Do you want to serve, love, leave a mark? Start today. Don't wait for perfect clarity, because those who walk by faith are shown the path as they move forward. Napoleon Hill taught that true action is born from a burning desire, but the Bible refines it further. Desire must be born from the Spirit, guided by God. When your goal is not just success, but obedience, heaven aligns with you. And if you've made it this far, it's no accident. This is your restart point. It doesn't matter what happened before. What matters is what you do with what remains. Because it doesn't matter how many years you wasted, if from today onward your time becomes sacred. What will remain of you once you're gone? When your voice is silenced, when your social media is erased, when your degrees no longer matter, what will still be here? Here's a truth no one can escape. We all leave a legacy. The question isn't if you will. The question is, what kind of legacy are you leaving? Legacy isn't a will or an inheritance. It's the invisible mark you leave every single day in your children, in your words, in your actions, in what you teach, and in what you allow. Napoleon Hill once said, "Your most powerful influence is not what you achieve, but what you plant in others." And Psalm 90 echoes it with strength. Teach us to number our days so that we may live in such a way that we leave something that lasts. What's the use of living 90 years if your life inspired no one? What's the use of leaving behind riches if you never passed on values? There are those who accumulate wealth and die empty. And there are others who may never have had material riches, but they sowed wisdom, faith, and direction. And those people never truly die because their legacy keeps walking in the hearts of others. Your legacy begins today in how you speak, in how you serve, in how you love. Next time you embrace someone, think, "I'm leaving a mark." Next time you inspire someone, remember, "I am launching an arrow." As Scripture says, children are a heritage from the Lord, like arrows in the hands of a warrior. And that doesn't just refer to biological children. It includes the people you shape, the ideas you share, those who listen to you and follow you without you even knowing. So make every word count. Make every act reflect purpose. Live a life that doesn't need a tombstone to be remembered. Because when God is at the center, your legacy doesn't die with you. It begins with you. Psalm 90 is not a warning. It's a compass. A guide so that you don't live asleep, so you don't walk in circles, so you don't waste the most precious gift God gave you, time. It doesn't say hurry. It says wake up. Don't live on autopilot. Don't run without direction. Don't let your soul grow old while your body pretends to be alive. Count your days, not to fear the end, but to gain wisdom. Count your days, not like someone waiting for the final chapter, but like someone who's building eternity with every sunrise. Because real faith is not about repeating nice phrases. It's about living each day as if it's a sacred mission. And if you choose to live that way, God will take every minute of yours and turn it into an eternal seed. You're not here by accident. You're here because this message found you at the exact right moment. God is reminding you, you're still on time. Make what's left of your time matter forever. And before you leave, do something that may seem simple but holds real spiritual power. Subscribe to this channel. Yes, it's just one click, but it's more than that. It's a silent affirmation to heaven and to yourself. I choose to live with purpose. I choose to number my days. I choose to live led by God. Here on the Napoleon Code, every word, every video, every reflection is designed to awaken you, remind you, align you. And if this message touched something deep in your soul, thank you. Thank you for staying. Thank you for opening your heart. Thank you for allowing yourself to be transformed. Because when God builds with you, not even time or death can tear down what you've built.